The fourth quarter Landfill Advisory Committee meeting time is 9:02, October 17th. Everybody should have a copy of the minutes. I have determined we do have a quorum here, so we are good. Everybody should have a copy of the minutes from the third quarter meeting. Anybody have any questions? Concerns? Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second, you got it.
All in favor, say aye. Motion approved minutes have been approved. Open the floor to public comments for anyone who wants to make any public comments at this time. We have nobody here, but we'll leave it open for a few seconds, minutes. All right, close the floor to public comments. All right, move to the Maplefield landfill update.
All right. What I got for you update is to recap some tonnage in July 2025 tons. Year over year, we're talking 74,460 versus 2025 versus 78,426 tons in July of 2024. So year over year, we're down slightly. In August of 2025, we did 64,305 tons versus August of 2024, 70,364. September tonnage year over year, 2025, 69,774 tons versus 70,321 in September of 2024.
Could I stop you?
Yes, sir.
Where are those figures in our stuff at, guys? Where are those figures that he's calling out?
Tonnages,
But they're not matching with what he's saying.
the 69. What month were you saying was 69?
69,000 September of this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or-
Those might not match because those might be the.
Well, that's what I'm
tons
saying.
Those are the tons that we got paid for.
These are
Okay.
what they
Those
paid
is what
for.
This is,
We got paid
okay.
for. That's
And what he's talking about
yeah.
is total, like
Yeah.
the volume they bring in from the convenience centers and what.
Paid, that's county tracks. I follow you. Okay, got you.
Well, that's what I was checking. I thought before it was always.
That's just what we get paid.
Okay. But I understand, I thought before that, when he gave that report, it was including what was just about what we got paid for, but it must not have been.
I'm just doing totals.
Okay.
And if you notice, we're slightly down every month, year over year,
Mhm.
due to that Howard Street tunnel, which is currently, they just opened back up.
Okay.
So we should see a change in that.
Any expectation date on that, when they would start?
Well,
Follow back
we're
down.
pretty close in September. I mean, you're talking very close in tonnage. So
Okay,
it opened back up in September. So
okay.
we're starting to see volumes.
So you are already
Yeah.
starting to see that
Yeah.
increase then? Okay.
So
Yeah.
real
I
quick.
mean, I see an increase there, but I didn't know if that was due to that or just due to, sorry.
Right,
They're
no,
still-
no, absolutely. No.
They're still working out the flow, getting back to their old haul routes and all. So it's adjusting well. So
And-
Okay, good.
The landfill put this together for us?
I believe
That came from the board packet or the quarterly update I sent to the boards. So
Okay.
that's, out of that packet.
Okay, how hard would it be to get like those two, both, because you gave us two numbers, so that when we're looking at it, we can see both numbers being run and kind of get a bit.
Compared to last quarter.
Yeah, how difficult is that?
shouldn't be hard. I mean, I'm just kind of giving you some comparison.
Right.
Where we were last year, and most of that was due to the tunnel project. So
Okay.
just kind of.
If we could, or was that, everybody want that, or is that something that would benefit?
If it's not a lot of trouble, it would be nice to be able to say,
Back and forth, yeah.
just,
They just mean another column though.
right, because we're already seeing it here from July, but like I said, if we can go,
Month to month.
that'd be great. I mean,
And everything's gonna be variable with the work.
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
We got it. If that works, then. Yep. Go ahead.
Hey, Royce, is there a master spreadsheet that's kept by the county in terms of the income tonnage? Like the gross tonnage?
It's
then
in
the
each, host
rep-
fee letter we get, so I can put that together, each month quarterly, year over year for y'all.
Okay,
But we
that's,
don't keep it as a master, we keep the, we get yearbooks and each
Okay.
yearbook contains host fee letter for each month, so I can
Okay.
just reference that for the year over year.
okay. What I was,
That has been for since.
what I'm trying to get to is, to compare sort of moving average for gross tonnage versus revenue tonnage. Since obviously we're seeing a discrepancy between which is normal, a discrepancy between gross tonnage and revenue generating tonnage. So,
Yep, I can have that.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
I apologize for being here late. Apparently, it's my first time being late.
No
We
worries.
we were discussing how you might be stretching things now that you're not in that.
Because I was afraid I'd get the chair again.
You might have.
They told me to run this like a Marine drill sergeant. So I said, know what?
Yep.
You don't know how many push-ups you gotta do
I was
after
gonna
the
say,
meeting.
I mean, we already had to.
That's right.
You've been practicing.
Huh?
So I thought I'd avoid PT this morning.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
And I can do the same with the host fees, starting July 2025, host fees were $247,298.91. August of 2025, host fees were $206,575.12. September of 2025, host fees, $231,623.87. I made a correction. What did I say for July? 247.
No, you were right.
You're right.
You were right. We got that right here.
Okay, you have
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, you're right on that one.
Yeah, we're just talking about getting the current of what y'all take in
Okay.
is what so we can compare it.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Just so we know how much local trash is coming in.
Yeah,
basically.
because that's gonna be something we're gonna have to talk about later on.
Question.
That-
Being Genco sales have not seen that. Is that them buying gas from the landfill? Where does that number come from? How is that number generated?
That's what they purchased from us.
They purchased the gas from us. Okay,
The county gets a host fee on the gas.
okay.
Okay.
Question on that, Ingenco is a defunct business, correct? Or is Ingenco still?
It's now Archaea, which is
Okay.
owned by BP, I believe. Yes.
Okay,
So, and
yeah,
they just
probably wise to update the.
update
Yeah,
that.
from
policy. It's not
Ingenco.
critical,
The
but,
last contact I got from them said in Jinko.
okay, so
They-
it's still a
Yeah.
DBA.
Yeah, they might still.
I don't think they're updated yet either.
Okay, fair enough.
I think they've been bought several times recently, so they're
To keep
probably
up.
still trying to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain it's Archaea.
Yeah.
That's who we send a bill to. We got the dumpster over there.
Archaea. Yes, it's currently Archaea.
That's
Yes. Good. Okay, recently, I think this was in the minutes last meeting as well, the DEQ CTO inspection of the two new cells, 20 and 21. And we got a final inspection on our 15-acre cat from the first 15-acre cat from last year. So that's all signed off on. We actually had a full DEQ and compliance inspection for solid waste last week on 10/6. No issues found. Recently received our DEQ renewal approval for our E3 status in the Virginia Environmental Excellence Program, or the VEET. It's for wildlife habitat and things we do. So we just got recertified on that. We do currently have a 15-acre cat project they're about to wrap up, but they haven't completed yet. And along with that is a gas system project as well. So I don't have a completion date, but it shouldn't be too much longer. All right, and then we have made some adjustments with the guard company regarding the scavenging issues at the front.
Yeah.
So they're going to be there later in the mornings, so they're leaving real early. They'll be there until they're opening.
Well, let me ask you something while we're right there. When you say they're gonna be there later in the morning.
They were leaving earlier in the mornings. I think it was 5.
The day that I let y'all know, they were there.
They were.
Their vehicle there. Oh, yeah. It was 5:30 in the morning. They were there.
So I think the issue before that they were leaving before we opened, so we're having them stay. So somebody's there at all times. That's all I have, yes.
Anybody have any more questions or any additional information? All right. Thank you, sir.
I would like to, no, thank you guys for coming out for the tour.
Appreciate it.
So still need to get back with you, do my writing.
Anytime, give me a call.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get with you. It's been fun in the federal government.
The ride around, it puts it in your, ones that go,
That's what-
it makes a big difference when they take you around and show you the back of it and all that stuff. It puts a whole lot more than this does.
That's right. Yeah, no.
And he'll explain to you what everything does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got pipes and stuff running down the fence. It's real good.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, move over on to old business. First item up is odors adjacent to the landfill.
I'm gonna just say from a standpoint, I don't know if it's been a pressure issue, but we've had some plenty cool mornings. Cool mornings seem to be when it was bad last year and in the spring of this year.
Mhm.
I'm talking, I don't notice it at a Mega Spring store right now. I mean, it is considerably better, whether it's still due to weather that it's better or things that are being done, if there's something being done differently than our last meeting. I mean, because that's at the end of the day, at this point in time, that's the major complaint that you're getting from anybody in the county. I mean, I've even talked to some of the people living on Mount Zion right there, and just to ask them what they thought. I was like, am I just turning the blind? Have I gotten used to it? And they're like, no, it is noticeably better. Like I said, I'd still love for us to get the weather station, I know that's later in the business, put in so we have some actual data to go off of, other than, well, I'm just not smelling anymore, because it may be a barometric pressure issue or something like that. But it is, I mean, like I said, it's plenty cool this morning, and it's not an issue right now.
As far as, District 3, which, I mean, I got land that touches the landfill. This would be the only quarter meeting that I have not had anybody call me and complain about the landfill.
Well, we've also had a drier period and windy.
Yeah, and so I
That
think
certainly has helped.
we'll find out after maybe a year
Mhm.
if we get the weather station of, like he said,
What to
barometric
go off
pressure
of.
or more,
Yeah, like I said.
kind of know.
What's the trigger? Yeah.
And that'll help them too.
Ben, on that note, is there something else y'all have done further? Is it possible that some of this capping project has?
Oh,
made a difference?
absolutely.
Okay.
Capping and the gas project definitely helps.
Okay.
That is,
You're actually sealing everything off, and if you come back, I can kind of explain some of that. to you.
Y'all haven't had as big a area that you've had to cover with tarps and such too.
Yes.
So it's not like you're opening anything up in the morning like you were before. Everything's contained in one area up there, pretty close to it. So
Yeah.
that may have a difference. And for us, your side, the wind's been coming out of the north here recently, at least the last week or two, so.
The county received probably about 8 complaints within the last month, but it's highly localized. Within probably a 600-yard stretch on the southern side and slightly southwest side of the landfill.
Perkins Road.
Yes, I didn't get those complaints until the gas well project started and the, y'all began work on the very peak right there.
Could you, do you have the address, do you have the location on Perkins Road? You said it's within 600 yard.
It was Bird Grove.
Virgo, okay.
Okay.
Well, but that comes off.
Yeah.
So it's up high above the landfill, the smelling. What they're smelling is not straight across from the landfill, if it's down Bird Lane.
Yeah.
Landfill doesn't go up quite that far. Okay. I'm just
But that
trying
would-
to,
but that would also, direction wise, that would, what just,
With the
what we
wind.
just said, we're in north wind. I
Yep.
mean, that, it's gonna shoot it straight to them, and like you said, it being,
The complaint said they had not had odor until this last month and a half, which does line up with the gas well projects they're undertaking in the CAP project. So
Okay.
the big question, is once that stops, if we stop getting those.
Of the complaints from multiple people are all the same. Person.
The same group.
Okay,
So it's approximately 3 citizens complaining a few times each.
okay.
Well, Burb Grove, I mean, that's a very localized area, so like I said, should be able to lock that.
Yeah.
But that's getting as specific as we've been so far, because it had been very broad.
I had not smelled any along the 360 corridor.
Right, no,
That's,
and that's impressive to me, because for so many years we have been able to, I mean, this is not a thing, it's been over the last year and a half, it's been a bigger issue with it getting such a broad area. But I mean, almost since the landfill, at least 20 years of it, you go down 360 corridor right there, I mean, you smelt it.
you smelt it, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, I was just at the landfill yesterday afternoon dropping off some stuff, and I mean, it's not even
Nothing.
strong in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's a major difference right now.
That's good news. All right, any other discussion, questions, comments? All right, we'll move on to the weather station cost, and seeing that we discussed last meeting the possibility of getting some cost and some ideas of what it would cost to get a weather station put up.
So from what I found, the county could do it. I feel like we could do it for right around 400 or less, based on an AccuWeather weather station, which records all the basics you would need: your wind speed, direction, humidity, temperature, rain, things like that. The only concern I have about that, my question would be, it needs to have the base station within a Wi-Fi area. I'm still looking into whether or not I would be able to use that base station to gather data for a few days and then just go near it and have it upload off of a hotspot. Because ideally, I think the weather station should go on an elevated area of the landfill, as long as Waste Management and Brian agrees to that. But my research into the cost was based on having a weather station that could go somewhere that wasn't directly connected to Wi-Fi. There's hundreds of them for $30 you can get that go on the side of a house, but if you put it on the side of the office here, you're gonna have every truck going by.
Yeah.
Altering every amount of data you get, it's gonna be like 100-mile-an-hour winds all day long.
Oh, no, when you said 400, what did you mean about
Dollars.
just $400?
2 zeros, not 5.
Make sure.
Yeah.
We wasn't talking about thousands. I was looking at my board of supervisor memo, and I said, y'all can forget that.
He's getting military grade.
Some of the most expensive ones I looked at were agricultural stations, and those ran in the $1,100 to $1,300 range, but I don't think we need one that comes with a cellular plan subscription, because then that's a recurring cost to the county.
Yep.
I'd much rather have one that is a one and done purchase, and then I can find some way to have that data uploaded periodically. So I have a record, but cost-wise, I think it'd be within environmental management's budget as it is to be able to afford something like that.
Where would you think we need to put it in comparison to in the landfill?
If it was up to me, I would want to place it either at the very front on the top of the hill or at the very back on the top of the hill, somewhere it's elevated, catch any wind coming across the top. If you place it down low, you might get traffic, or it might end up getting shielded from the wind. If you place it at the front down low, then southern wind might get shielded coming over the top. Or you'll catch it comes over the top. If the wind curls back around, you get a false direction. If it's on the top, I wouldn't have to worry about anything like that. But then once I've determined the cost, which I think is doable for my department, then I'll have a conversation with Brian and see if Waste Management would be agreeable to that.
We have one of those, one of the AccuWeather models, which we like. Are there models that store onto an SD card inside where you just swap out the chip on a weekly basis and not have to worry about if Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection?
They may, I didn't see where it was overtly advertised, but that's not something they're advertising for the consumer. So I'm trying to find the actual handbooks for each one online and see if
Gotcha.
they have an option for
Makes
that.
sense.
with the base stations, I think they should be able to store that data for a few days at least.
Right, before it starts overwriting.
Before it overwrites it.
Yeah.
And then I can just go up there with my cell phone and have it hotspot a few megabits of data and upload it.
Okay.
But that's-
Do consider getting a couple extra of the wind cup things, because those do fail from time to time, and I suspect we might have a black vulture or two interested in one at some point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have a couple extra that we've probably gone through 2 of those in 6 years.
But my next step will be to have a discussion with Brian and see if Waste Management will allow something like that to be placed on their property.
Thank you.
Just, this is probably a far sight until we get the approval from Waste Management. Then the process to acquire the funds for that will then need to go to the board.
I'll still submit a staff proposal to the board. It should be able to come right out of my department's budget. I think I have a little discretionary spending for the few $100s it would cost, so.
Okay,
You'll
I
get
guess
that
that-
somewhere, probably be on the consent agenda most likely.
Which shouldn't be no problem then. I
wouldn't
don't
think so,
see-
not at this price. I mean,
No.
at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think that should be a big deal. But just wanting to know, basically how far out we would be from this, because I mean, it'd be fantastic to say, that we have this settled and ready to go by our next meeting, and then we, then get a full year's data as soon as possible.
You know, by the first of the year.
That's right, that'd be about,
It'd be going by the first of the year.
that'd be great.
If, so collecting the data is one thing. Does anybody know how Reggie Flippin used to process the data when he was collecting the data for the county? Am I remembering that correct? That he was,
I don't think Reggie did anything but just manually wrote it down in a book.
okay, I didn't know if that was sent on to
I don't think
NOAA
so.
or whatever, National Weather Service. Okay,
Yeah, now, I'm not saying it wasn't,
yeah,
but
but well, I guess what I'm
you're talking
getting
about
is,
years and years ago.
yeah. But I mean, that was a function the county used to do though, was to collect the
Yes,
data.
yes.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that this.
It was sanctioned by county.
Collected and curated by the county then.
Yeah, this station most likely could also upload to I believe it's the Citizen Weather Station program that NOAA runs. I think all the AccuWeather stations are capable of uploading to that program.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, ours is online right now.
So if we want this up and going by, let's say the first of the year, the end of this year, do we need a motion to move to start this process so that the board meeting or the Board of Supervisors?
Should be a motion. You already directed staff into getting a price. My next step is talking with Waste Management, and then
Okay.
after that will be, depending on their answer, will be getting a staff phone board with consent agenda so I can purchase the station.
Good to go. And so
Let
then,
me ask you this, if you're taking it out of your money, why does the board have to approve? They shouldn't have to approve.
I mean, they may not have to, but I'd do it anyways if it's an abnormal purchase. I mean, it's not something that this department's ever bought. So
You have the flexibility with your money to do, and I'm not trying to give you board a hard time, but
But why, I understand.
why put somebody in the loop that don't
I think
need
that's
it?
why he's saying it's going, probably going to consent agenda, just to say, hey, by the way, we're getting this. That's all the consent agenda.
Yeah, I think it's also, I agree with you. I think it's positive to share upward the information that this data is being collected on behalf of the county.
Because
and
it
being
will also-
used
it will
for
also
public
be-
benefit.
it will be available to all the citizens. If you live in Judgersville, then you'd have a weather station next to
Right.
you versus going to Richmond or Chula.
Yep.
But that's just, right now, it's just me thinking out loud is what I need to, my steps I have to go through.
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's just a sharing information, not particularly an approval. And like I said, that's just a better idea in any aspect,
And I think it shows a proactive approach to some of these issues. It shows that we are actively looking at what could be, impacting this. So by the first quarter meeting, we should have some data, right?
Hopefully.
With that, you bring up a good point, because if anybody's paying attention to the agenda for the supervisors, and anybody that might be a citizen thinking that this group meets and are not attempting to do anything other than discussing it, they may see that on that agenda, and they might ask the question, what's the weather station for? Because we're trying to gather data to try to figure out how to combat this odor, and encourage some of the citizens, so.
Would the landfill have any interest in this information on a thought process?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
Want to be
if
included
that's the
on it
case,
as well.
would they be willing to help? I know it's cover the cost, but either split it or get a better system if we're gonna share information. Just a thought.
I mean, that's a good, I mean, because at that, if we go to that point, then that could be something that we could make it a more robust system where it, maybe we purchase the system and the landfill be willing to pay for maybe a cellular pan or something, so it can automatically be fed to Royce's desk every morning he wakes up and, or goes into the office and boom, there's some data.
Just a thought.
This is, I mean, that's a, wait, I'm sorry. No, I'm good. You,
I know that, rainfall is a struggle for lots of reasons over there. Do you have a method of officially measuring rainfall on site?
We have several rain gauges, and actually we have a weather station on site.
Which that one's located by their admin building,
Admin
so it's
building.
ground.
So it's right, and it's
Ground
got
up.
faded by trees and stuff like that. Okay.
Topographically, this is probably higher compared to trees versus up front.
Uh,
Plus you have less.
The front's actually higher in elevation,
Oh, is it really?
That'd be based off.
Yeah, because everything flows down towards Buckskin
about
Creek.
100 feet. Yep.
So the highland is up by 360.
No, such a long
oh,
span.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's
No
something
good
you
reason to
could,
run.
you could discuss with
You
Brian,
can actually
Yeah.
feed
you
it.
know,
Look at the
what he,
layout.
his point,
Yeah.
as far as cost.
That odor complaint we had when y'all were doing work on top of, I believe it's phase 23.
Mhm.
When I was on the access road next to phase 23, I couldn't smell anything. When I did go back to Bird Grove Lane, I could smell a low odor.
Mhm.
So the only thought is if there's wind up there that I don't feel because I'm shielded by the hill, it's skipping it over the treetops. And I can't feel the wind down there because I'm shielded by the.
Correct. So with your rain gauges, that's something that you own and operate, correct?
Yeah.
So if DEQ comes and says, we have this runoff issue and you're trying to establish a baseline for a rainfall event and the totals, do they accept your estimation based on your equipment? Or would this third party system help you document what actually happens on site if you have to have a conversation with DEQ or another?
I'm sure it would help,
Okay.
we do log, rainfall and inclement weather.
You see where I'm going with it?
Yeah.
Because if that would be a good thing for you all, then I could see a really natural partnership start to form here for the data collection and maybe getting something online.
Yeah, and that's something we can discuss, when,
Okay.
when we get approval to actually
Okay.
place it on site.
Right, I like where we're starting, but if it could be more robust and on, an online thing, that would be a shared thing that wouldn't all be on the taxpayer side. And you also have a use out of it as well. I'd like to see that explored as much as practicable.
Yes, thank you.
I think that we all agree that Royce takes this and does what he can to, with our intent.
I think it's a great idea,
Good.
especially for the price.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bargain price. And then, like I said, otherwise, just as Bubba was saying, otherwise we're just talking about it.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, it's great anything needs to be talked about, but if we've got some actual data, it may
Moving.
help us all come to a better solution for it. So we're not back here again next year in the same place.
Same, talking about the same thing.
That's
You
right.
go, he's gonna be checking it all the time, but if you go a year,
Mhm.
then you ought to kind of have some good data.
Yep.
Most years are fairly decent, but that way you really would have some good information, might be able to single it right. Nothing's perfect, but the citizens, like I was saying, they'll know that we're trying to figure out the best way. You're never gonna get rid of all the odor of a
Right.
landfill.
No.
But if we're trying, that's all we can do, attempt.
Exactly.
And they're gonna attempt by using this information too.
I do, as of right now, look into some more robust stations. I do like, at least for the time being, the more inexpensive ones staying below $500, because I don't know if that goes up on that top, if a vulture decides that's gonna be its landing perch, it's gonna destroy that station. more than likely.
Yep.
And then it'd be a much easier manageable replacement if it does ever have to be replaced because of a passing scavenger.
Sure.
That's one of the concerns I have with it being up there is they're gonna
Yep.
find an elevated position
Oh,
and
yeah.
roost on it.
Yeah, they do have the spikes on the top of the rain cup that should prevent that.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I know there's working with small.
I think,
Right.
to be honest, I think as much as I like going with the more expensive, robust one that can be more survivable, to be honest, I think we should start with the cheaper one and see how that works.
Mhm.
You know, see if we can get away with that.
Cause the one that I've found, the only thing it doesn't do is, I think UV. It doesn't grab a UV, total for the day, which that's not too important at least.
It's
Temperature
further
control.
down, it's further down on the scale of
Yeah.
importance.
And UV indices are much more broad patterns than
Yeah.
localized, unlike rain or wind.
That's like the cloud covering UV, that stuff can be recorded visually
Correct.
daily, much more easier than anything else.
What, just so we have something to compare it to, how the complaints that are coming through to the county, how are they recorded? Or how long are you keeping record of them? I guess is would,
In perpetuity.
okay. So
forever.
what I'm looking at is, you know, this time next year, we're here. And we look back and we find out when the complaints were highest, and then we're comparing those to the data, because that's really what we
That's-
can do,
yeah.
correct? Because there's no way to measure the smell.
Right.
Figuring out where they are, looking into weather patterns. And that's why I wanted to make sure that we don't collect all this weather data and then we go, oh, well, hang on. We don't know what date those complaints were made. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we can always go back to those essentially, at least for a year.
Yeah.
We can always go back to those complaints and pin down the area and a date. All that record is kept.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And I have been taking the weather when the complaints come in, but the problem is the stations are not local. The stations that I can pull
Well,
historical data from are not in this area at all.
Yeah.
sure.
And that's going to give us a little bit better, using that data and putting the two together will give us a little bit better reasoning to what's going on and how we can move forward from there.
I don't think it's gonna take a year that we've got to have to do a study and then come back and figure out what to do. I think in the short term, when we're starting to getting complaints, we can look at the weather and determine this is what's more than likely causing this and work on combating it. The long term is going to help. That way we could get ahead of it and predicting before, hey, this time of year's coming up, we got this kind of weather coming up. This is what we had to do last time. That's what's going to take place with that. But in the immediate, hey, we've got a bunch of complaints. What's the weather look like? Oh, it's this kind of wind. It's this barometric pressure. It's this. In line with what they're doing at the landfill too. That's going to need to be recorded as well. How much area y'all have uncovered that you have to cover either by foam or by tarps, and correlate that with the weather and the odor complaints. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if everything's
Yeah.
covered up and there's odor complaints, then we need to figure out what that is. You know what I mean? If they've got it uncovered, there's greater complaints, then we know, hey, we need to focus more on that area, particularly in this direction, because of whatever weather there is. So it's more than just the weather and the odor and where it's going. It's going to have to do with what they've got going on out there too. Not saying y'all shouldn't, but I mean, if it's a bigger area uncovered, then it's gonna take a little bit more to combat it. But I don't think it's gonna be a year's time that we can't do anything but keep the fans going, hope nobody complains, and then see what the weather does and try to make a change. I think it will help in the short term. So.
well, let me ask you this. Tom Jones complained. He lives down Bird Grove. Okay, would it be feasible, like Bubba said, after a quarter or whenever, and to ask those people also for their opinion or not? Or would we want to do that?
I can ask when they first submit the complaint if they would be open to a callback.
I mean, you
I
know,
could do that. I have followed up with citizens that have made complaints in this meeting before. And this was back first quarter, I believe. So I followed up with one of those citizens and he said that he still noticed it periodically, but he had seen improvement. I followed up.
was
with-
that Nick?
No.
Okay.
I followed up with this man left me his phone number for me to follow up with him. So, I reported that in the second quarter meeting.
Cause I talked to Nick in between our last meeting and this meeting, you know, him and his wife came to one. He said, Train, for some reason, he said, I haven't smelled it,
Mhm.
you know, and he promised me he would call me, you know, he said, so.
And you
I
haven't
get a
heard
lot
from
of
him?
people saying they don't
No,
like.
and I talked to him
If y'all get
3 weeks ago.
if y'all get people calling in and saying they don't like to complain, tell them, please do. I mean, it's.
That's what
it's
we're
not-
here, you know.
Yeah, that's-
We need the information, you know.
Especially,
Actually,
If you don't complain, we don't know.
yeah, and if we do this, we definitely want their input,
Mhm.
you know.
And it's much better for you to call up and tell me, hey, I smelled it today than, hey, I've smelled it for a month now. What's going on?
Right.
They're upset and I had no clue that it was a problem because I'm just now getting the information. So if y'all have people calling, you tell them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Call it in.
So it's not a complaint, it's a report.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
They grab you in food line and say, hey, last week I smelled, call me, as soon as you smell it, call me.
Information they give you.
It's, yeah,
And even better, if you wanna, you know, you wanna shoot it in a text, shoot it in an email, so you can say it. I mean, the more information we have, the better. If you
Better.
can say 9:30 this morning is when I walked out the door and caught the major smell of it, you know,
Mhm.
then that's when we can go back and look and say, okay, well, 9:30, the pressures were this, the temperature was this, the wind was this.
Yep.
And then like Bubba pointed out, like it's just as important that we go back to Ben and Brian and say,
what
what was taking place
were you doing?
this morning, because it was only bad this morning. They said it was on. Yeah, it's just like anything else. The more information we have, the better.
Well,
The
Daddy,
easier it is to come up with a solution for it.
Well, good. All right. Any other discussion?
One more question for Ben. Do y'all record how much open area y'all have? Is that recorded any kind of way? Okay.
We would basically have to get that information as soon as possible at that point then and go to get a fairly rough estimate of it. Once we get the complaint, I guess that information then would need
All
to
the
be.
DEQ requires is as as small as manageable.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect y'all to record that daily or weekly or monthly or, you know.
but it's easy to figure out. I mean, you take a GPS.
If we call and ask the question, do you have a pretty rough idea of it?
At that point, yeah, that would be easy.
I'm talking about quantifying the exposed trash space.
Yes. And that, you know, so basically, like I said, if you get a very isolated situation, just like we're talking about on Burke
Mhm.
Road, at that point, then you can go, you know, if whoever's getting the complaint can just call in and say, you know, how much is open right now?
Right.
It's always variable though, you know, how much you have come in. I mean, it always changes.
And I'm sure it is,
It's
and
not
that's why I
gonna
was saying, making
constant.
I understand it would be an estimate, but at least if we could make that call immediate,
Right.
get the best chance to get the most accurate information, I would think. Is that right?
Understanding it's not 100% guaranteed, but it's as close as we're going to get, given the situation, the circumstances.
Just might be enough information to go, oh, this
There you go.
correlates with this.
That makes sense. Okay. Exactly.
That, and also, you know, did y'all just uncover something or another? I think that's important to know too, because I do believe the pressure and then them starting to operate at 6. Do y'all start operating at 6?
We start pulling tarps and stuff around 6.
Yeah, I think that's going, the weather,
Yeah.
pressure down, and then starting that, which you got to do it. You know what I mean? I think those two things are when most people are going to, most people do smell or they notice it or there's an issue with it, because most anybody that I've talked to about it that understand the landfill's there and they're like, yes, it smells sometimes this and that and the other. Their complaint is from like landfill open until 9 or 10 o'clock. And it's had time for the gas to dissipate or whatever, or the pressure to change. So.
All right. Any other discussions? Royce, I know you keep up with us, keep good lines of communication. If you'll just let us know, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the purchase we made, and trust you to take care of it. Good?
Yeah.
All right. Next item for discussion, convenience center hours.
I don't know what this is the time. This has got to do with the convenience center. You know, we discussed at the last quarter about redoing all these signs. Did you ever find out anything from Brian about y'all redoing the signs to tell people what they can't put in and can put in?
I think the signs are still posted there.
But they're still the same signs that have been there forever, and they're
The,
not that easy to read.
Yeah, I'd add to that. I was at the Epps Lane, Convenience Center this past week, and some of the signs there have vegetation in front of them that needs to be removed. Specifically the one that says that you're supposed to be a resident of the county. There's some pet zoo or whatever it is growing up in front of it, poison ivy or something. So, and I would say the general state of most of the signs I've seen, they're pretty old. They're getting pretty janky looking. So if some of those can be redressed. The gentleman that was there at the time, Ben Labrador, very nice gentleman, very effective. I had some sheet panels on top of the trash to keep it down in the truck, and he thought I was going to put those in the dumpster. He came out and got on me to make sure I wasn't going to do that. I said, no, I'm not throwing those away. But I'm glad he did that. I thanked him for doing that to make sure that, you know, I wasn't dumping a bunch of industrial trash in there. But he did also bring up the sign thing, that some of the signs placement and then their condition. See if we can get that addressed. And I agree with him on that.
Yeah, if we can, that's a good point. If they're getting to a point where you can't even read them, whether they're covered up or just old.
At night, the ones up the land, you know, at the station that stays open all the time in
Right.
my house are hard to read. And I don't mean they're, so you can't read them, but they're easy for somebody to say, well, I couldn't see them.
I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, they need, and I do think it is one of those things that, whether people are gonna be affected by it or not, there's no chance of it working if it's not in their forefront. Because they're not looking for a reason not to be able to dump there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There, you know, so it's gonna have to be really in their face for it to have any chance of effectiveness, I would think. And it is good. I don't know, like I said, I know we've discussed before, the guards could only ask with so many questions and do that many things, but it is good to hear of some activity. Like Brendan was talking about, that there's a point in having them there.
They are serving, yeah.
Yes, that it's serving a good purpose, and that possibly, you know, maybe it'll at least deter a little bit of this, the free trash, because if we are dealing with it as a county, then it, you know, it's not, never is it the county gets the landfill, it's a team effort, but if we're gonna have the landfill in our county, it is yes, it's an advantage, financially, but it is a disadvantage for just having a landfill, you know, so we should be paid for that if somebody else is wanting to come dump, you know.
Agree.
Well, and see, with, the, you know, with the rural sites, they don't get paid for that trash.
Right, because
And I'm gonna tell you, I'm back to the same thing, but it still falls into this.
Mhm.
I would like to know how many tons of trash is hauled into the landfill where I live at every month from Donner County. It's unbelievable.
the only thing,
Unbelievable.
the only thing I will say that is a bit, in my opinion, was good to hear from Ben's reports was there wasn't as large of a gap on unpaid trash and paid trash as I would have expected. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about, it was really only, I mean, what? Couple percent at the most that, you know, that's unpaid trash. So at the end of the day, we do need to combat it. It right is right. If you're bringing trash in here from somewhere else, it needs to be paid for. But it is nice to know that it's not
A major.
a major giant issue. You know,
It's more
it
this.
is exactly.
in the
It's
broad
not like
picture of
we're not
everything.
changing our county income by thousands and thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? We may be changing it by hundreds of dollars at most per year.
Right.
So that, not that it needs to be ignored for that fact, but it doesn't seem to be as big of an issue as I at first had in my mind that it would be. And I imagine that anything of any weight is still having to go back in the landfill, it's still being weighed, so then you do need proof of citizenship to be able to do that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And like you said, it's right and wrong.
that's exactly right. That's where we got to get. We can't go, well, just because it's a little deal, because that is how it becomes a big deal.
Exactly. Yep.
But at the same time, it's nice to know that it's not a burden per se on the county at this point. But I still agree with all the signage and everything. We still need to let people know, look, this is not supposed to be free, you know?
It's hard to enforce the ordinances and the rules. On the side, when the information is shared, not haphazardly, but when it's hard to read
Yes.
or it's occluded or whatever.
If anybody's got any excuse to not know
Yeah.
it, a lot of people are gonna use that. They're already looking for that sometimes, and I agree with you. We've got to, if we want to attempt to enforce it at all, the people that are dumping the trash need
Need to know.
Which is an admission of guilt just to start with when somebody's got that attitude. So,
Yeah.
No, it is. It is.
Absolutely.
so not trying to correct you at all. So the actual tonnage
Mhm.
difference, if that lowers for what the county, it's not gonna raise what the county's getting paid for because most people are not gonna come in and pay to go in the back because it's a ton minimum.
Mhm.
So they're just gonna go elsewhere. So you might see that little small number change some. Yes, granted, it does help waste management and it will help the county, but we're not gonna see an increase in the amount of money because unless they carry it somewhere, dump it, and then those people are the ones that are bringing to pay it in the landfill, and that's not necessarily gonna be the case.
The greater unquantified negative on that front is that non-revenue generating trash that's derived outside of the county occupies space in the landfill.
Yes.
So
That
it's
is
still
not-
cutting.
Yes.
And that's, I think my verbiage may have been wrong, but yeah,
So
that's what
it's-
I was.
It's actually the
yeah,
back
meaning about.
end.
Yes.
And I wasn't trying to
No,
correct you, I
that's
just
great.
trying to
No,
clarify.
don't hesitate on that at all. Information is good to know. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what my point was, that
Yep.
it wasn't a financial change per se.
But over the long run,
It
like
can
he's,
be.
yes, because it allows more spaces, he says, in the
We're giving
landfill.
away revenue space.
Yep,
That's right.
yep, exactly.
And to clarify what you just said, on a ton minimum, so it's got to be over a ton before it's billable? Is that what you were saying?
It's gotta be, it's a ton minimum, so if you are a paying customer, you need to pay, this has nothing to do with residents.
You're right.
It has to do with a customer that they're going to charge a ton minimum. So if you come in with 500 pounds, you're paying for 2,000 pounds.
Okay, that was that was the clarity I was looking for.
Yeah,
That's
What's
it.
so I should know this. What is the per ton minimum if you come in with 500 pounds? What's a gate fee for that right now?
It's gonna be whatever a ton is, $70 plus fees, 67, 68.
Somewhere in that.
Something.
So 60, $70.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna pay for a ton whether you have a ton or not. And then after that, so if you've got, let's say 2,500 pounds, you're gonna pay point whatever. You're gonna pay for the ton, of course, and then it'll be 500 pounds. You're not paying.
To the next.
No,
the
yeah,
next-
no, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were just asking for that
The minimum-
current tonnage
the minimum,
price, right?
yeah, the
What is
minimum.
It's the gate rate's 65, between 65 and 70. I hadn't looked at it and I don't know if there's any fees on it or not. Sometimes they had some surcharges for fuel and all that on there. And I hadn't paid attention to the sign recently.
Okay.
So you're looking at around $70 a ton.
All right. Can we, as the board then, just request an update next meeting that the signs have been either cleaned up, looked at, or reviewed to give us a better idea of the condition of everything? And each of us can ride in, drop into our local convenience centers just to double check and make sure. But if next meeting, at least come back and say, hey, yeah, we replaced this sign, or we cleaned up this sign because it was covered up. All righty. Anything else on convenience center hours?
Has there been any complaint on that county wise for convenience center hours? I have not received any complaints from my district on convenience center hours. I think that is, I think at the last meeting, I think there were some issues with, was it, the Vanboro Center, maybe?
I think that what brought the whole topic up was the extra trash at the a 24-hour convenience center, and the hour discussion was the outlying convenience centers being closed, so more people having to go to that convenience center.
So there were no complaints of, we're just looking at doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so has that been, at that time, we'd requested possibly a shift of hours, right? Not a
I think
additional
trying
hour.
to have it over on Sunday possibly.
I had mentioned that. We were responding to the spring pulse of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was causing sort of a countywide full dumpster issue. And so I had suggested revisiting when the hours are open. There's a stipulation in the solid waste agreement about how many minimum hours a week. I think it's 40 hours a week.
It's in the regs.
And, but that is codified, so to speak. Whether adjusting hours could help that problem or not. I didn't know that it would, but it's something that I thought was worth looking at.
When, and they have not changed since last quarter
But
meeting.
it's still
No,
got
they
the
haven't.
same.
Okay, how are we looking on the being overfilled? I mean, I noted that Maplewood, it has not been an issue.
I think it's seasonal.
Seasonal has not
Yeah.
been too bad. So, but overall, the convenience centers seem to have been managed pretty well as far as that goes.
I've never received a complaint on the hours. The Maplewood 24-hour one, the first week of weather that you can get outside in, you're gonna see more garbage than you ever seen in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just how it happens. It seems to happen like that every year.
Sure.
But that's what prompted the discussion.
Christmas Day.
Yep.
That one.
And
The whole
I
week
believe
agree-
if they put, seriously, in their defense, if they put 25 dumpsters out there,
It's
if
fill them up.
they'd all be full.
Mhm.
I got a complaint. I've got it right here. The person does not live in my district. She knows me very, very well. This happened, I would say at the band convenience center, whatever you call it. What time do they close?
Varies from day to day.
Depending on the day,
Depends on the day.
Tuesday, Wednesday, it's what, 3 to 7, Saturdays, 9 to 5, something like that. or
She
7 to
says that they carried some trash to, and the officer that was working there told them they closed at 5:30 and wouldn't let them dump it. Now, she does say that she has some stuff that, according to what he said, she couldn't dump there, but he wouldn't let her dump it other because they closed at 5.
That was at the 24-hour site.
No,
I got it too.
you sure it's the same person?
Yeah, he heard it too. He was with me. He's gonna bring that up.
Okay.
Well, she sent me.
Is that new?
It's a different person, but it was very, very similar, and
I'm pretty sure this is a different person.
Is this reference new business?
I guess it
Okay.
would fall under the ordinance. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
It would.
Yep.
Well, it also falls under the convenience center hours if they're supposed to be open to 6 and
Yeah.
tell somebody they close at 5:30. But I mean, either way,
That would
Yeah.
depend on what site it is and what day it is.
Yeah.
Or
a lot of
hours.
it, I can tell you. It was, what date I get this? Well, no, I don't, because she done sent me 10 messages.
You should be able to click on that particular
Well,
message.
Yeah.
But see, she didn't, that don't mean that she sent me the message the same day it happened.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right. Yep, got you. Okay.
All right. Well, we can, while he looks for the date, we can move on to the new business since this is gonna overlap into this, I believe. And for the new business, I know we have, I believe we may have some action to take as far as county ordinances and regarding the convenience centers, as we were discussing. So I know we've been provided the, I guess the convenience center regulations or statutes. Anything in particular that you want us to discuss or anything particular we need to discuss?
Believe, I'm not aware of when they were ever updated. They were the ones, they could be the original ones.
Well, if it's in the permit, it probably don't have to be there.
Well, these aren't in the permit, these are, county ordinance.
Correct. Mr. Chair,
Sir.
would it be beneficial if we were to read a section of the solid waste agreement regarding convenience center which outlines their operation? That way we start with the agreed upon facts.
Absolutely.
I'd be happy to do so.
Thank you, sir.
This is section 4.2 of the solid waste agreement as amended and signed. Convenience centers. The county will at such times as it chooses provide up to 6 parcels of land, and Waste Management will provide 1 site outside of the secured portion of the landfill where there shall be established convenience centers for use by residents, but not commercial or industrial generators within the county without charge. Each site being of a nature and design that it is reasonably acceptable to Waste Management and the county and sufficient to accommodate the waste delivered to such site. Waste Management will cause the construction of the convenience centers and their subsequent maintenance without cost to the county. Waste Management shall provide the disposal service for these sites, including collection and transportation of the solid waste from the site to the landfill, in order to provide the disposal of the county's residential, non-commercial, non-industrial solid waste as set forth herein. Waste Management shall obtain all permits and approvals necessary for the operation of such convenience centers and shall operate the same in accordance with the applicable federal, state, and local statutes, ordinances, and regulations.
Say it was 6 plus the landfill?
6 plus 1 outside site of the secured portion of the landfill. My understanding is that the current one, while it's on the same parcel, it's not technically on the landfill.
Okay,
That's
so
my
this is
interpretation of that, but I don't know if that's correct or not.
That's what my vision was. That's what that was.
Right.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I mean,
This is up to 6.
Yeah, county can provide up to, but not necessarily at.
It's what, 5 sites now?
Yeah.
there's one over on Dykeland. There's the one down in Manborough. There's one on Epps Lane, and then there's one at Ponton's Store, and then there's one over in
So,
Selma.
yeah.
So there's 5.
There's one in Manborough too, isn't it?
I got that one.
Oh, did
on
you?
the list. That's 5. Yeah, I think there are 5 to be hit
Yeah.
first. So technically,
So it's one in every district, at least.
And I think that's what the
there are.
initial attempt
Yeah.
was, one in each district.
Yeah, so there's quote room for 1 more. Yeah, because the county is not obligated, but has the option of going up to 6, and then Waste Management 1.
What's the board have to say? Any comments, questions, thoughts?
How is this enforceable? Who enforces it? It says it's a civil penalty, so it's not like you call the police, so.
The
What-
way this has been enforced in the past, and I have records on it, the ordinance in there, in your packet of them, where it says no waste that's not of a resident, they actually went back and went through people's garbage and found mail with their name on it or their address and then sent them enforcement letters. So that's how it was enforced in the
All right,
past.
so
through the county.
what I'm asking is how is a penalty imposed? What's done if it's a financial money?
Yeah, it's a fine, it's in lieu
So
of
they-
any criminal. It's
Do
like-
they send them a summons? How does
That
that
was
work?
not in the records. I don't think the only records I have of this ever being pursued by the county was in the 90s. And I don't have any record beyond the letters they sent them.
All right, so that's my question. If it's gonna be enforced, how is it enforced?
So that was
And
back-
is there gonna be a file if we're, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter what kind of rules we're gonna
Yeah.
discuss, change, do whatever, if we're not gonna want to enforce it and have a plan to enforce it and how that's done. So I'm not familiar with like civil. It's not like you send a police officer out there to write a ticket, correct?
Well, what has to happen with a civil case is they have to, the county would have to file a complaint through the court.
Mhm.
You can't just find somebody.
Yeah,
for
it can
any reason,
still
and then
become-
they would have to go to court.
Yeah, it can still become a magisterial issue. I would, My only comment towards the ordinances as I read them, go back to what you're saying. If it's $70 to basically get in and out of the landfill to deposit trash, the violation for dumping trash illegally is less than it is to do it at the landfill. So at this point, you save $20 by doing it illegally and paying the civil fine. So if the penalty is less than the proper way of doing it, I don't see much incentive towards doing it the proper way, at least from a structural standpoint.
I think the penalty also scales.
It does,
Yeah, so then.
but that has to do on repeat offenses.
Yeah, from repeat offenses.
And at that point, the county's spending your time and tax dollars
To get
effectively prosecuting something that there's no cash return on. So it's not incentivized on the front or the back.
I would also add to it that $50 does not cover the amount of time it costs for us to
Correct.
pay him or the county to follow through with this prosecution or this case. That might be a number from 1980 or 90, but definitely not in 2025. So
Well, to me, and maybe it's because it's been so long. What we've got right here is a lot of information right here. Why can't we ask the Board of Supervisors if they would post this in a Amelia paper or post these rules on the county website?
Post them in the Nottaway paper,
Yeah.
down the Powhatan paper.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying? That way people could, if somebody asks me or you can say, look, I can't remember every little thing. Go look on the county website. It's all right there in black and white. I think that would be a great idea.
it's a public record, yeah, so we.
Yeah, it's public record. I mean, there's nothing wrong with posting it. Now, whether they're gonna do it or not, but they can't say, well, I didn't know it. Well, if you didn't know it, it's because you didn't try to find out anything.
So it's my understanding that the reason we have this in front of us is we've had a couple issues in the past 6 months that have challenged the ordinances, one of which is scavenging.
Yeah, I hadn't got to that, but I was going to.
But that does tie in here.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Yeah,
other,
oh, yes.
and the other two would be refusal of restricted wastes or disposal at convenience centers. Because I mean, I've gotten some contact by the community on that front. And then my understanding is David Felt sent me a picture of basically these that were being handed out by guards at the post there at the Maplewood site over the past week. There was nothing that wasn't a strict ordinance, so they weren't making up rules or interpretations at all.
I didn't know that. That's
But
It is.
but that is in response to something. So do you have any light on what that something is?
What triggered that, and to the way it was explained to me, is that the supervisor for the guard company, he contacted me and asked if the county had any ordinances.
Okay.
So I treated it like a FOIA request and provided him with these ordinances, and then he decided of his own volition to enforce them to the letter, which is probably what should have always been done.
Right, it's a lot of them.
And what ended up causing the series of complaints that I got a few, and I know other board members got some as well, is section or letter H, where it says the no stoves, washing machines,
Yeah.
refrigerators, or other major appliances, bed springs, mattresses, furnitures, motor vehicles, or any large bulky items shall be deposited into any convenience center. So when people took their furniture, their mattresses, bulky items to the 24-hour drop-off at the landfill, which is a convenience center, the guards told them this can't go in here, which they were by county ordinance within their right to do, because that is a convenience center. And our ordinance states that those have to go back on the landfill. The complaints I got specifically referenced that since the landfill is not open to the public on Saturdays, nobody who works 9 to 5 has the ability to get rid of an old couch or a mattress, bed spring, anything like that, unless they take off work or are able to get there on a holiday that's
Right.
not observed by WM.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
But,
the one
but,
guy that's doing his job has become the bad guy. 'Cause everybody-
so, because, and that's what I was going,
He's
I'm
doing
gonna
his-
add to
he
that.
did his
I mean,
job, which had not been.
you know, I,
enforced at some
like I
point.
say, everybody knows I live there at the landfill. I've been by there in the daytime, which there's no guards there. And there's refrigerators,
Mhm.
there's chairs sitting there, not picking on you, but that's, waste management should be handling that. They shouldn't allow people, if, you know, I mean, if you're gonna allow people to do it in the daytime, then the people at night think they're being mistreated. It's not consistent. We needed a system that's consistent.
Is there a way to, because I mean, the problem seems to be the weekend thing, is that if you have a refrigerator to dispose of on Saturday, you can't go up on the hill to do it the proper way. And you can't leave it at any of the convenience
You
centers.
cannot accept refrigerators, period.
Okay, so I'll go to a stove then, no Freon, so it's a stove. So you got
Or white goods, actually.
white goods,
Yeah.
so you don't, so you're not supposed to take white goods at all? Even on the
Any-
top of the
any
hill?
PCBs. Yeah.
Where should county citizens
where's
dispose
the-
of those?
I would think stoves probably, but white goods are, they're, are they special waste?
Really?
I mean, that's an issue, because that,
That's,
I would think stoves are okay, but I know anything containing PCBs.
I mean, it says here, these
refrigerators, Air
items,
conditioners.
it says here on H, no stoves, washing machines, refrigerators, or other major appliances, bed springs, mattresses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, shall be deposited in, meaning convenience center, it's convenience center. These items shall be serviced for Freon removal in accordance with applicable laws, that's fridge,
mhm.
if required, and then disposed of at a sanitary landfill or otherwise disposed of in accordance.
If
So
they,
the sanitary landfill is in here.
yeah, if they've had the Freon and stuff removed, yes,
Okay.
but it has to be certified and have a sticker on it too.
Okay, but then a stove, so whiteware,
Yeah.
going back to that, so you can bring that up the
Yes.
hill Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
So is there a way of, on the weekend, being able to have I don't want to say a whiteware area, but a dumpster that's reserved for that sort of material? I mean, that stuff's been dropped off there for years.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
it's every week, 2 or 3 times a week, stuff's in there
Right.
during the daytime.
I'm talking to a point of, I have witnessed this before, when there was a guard on the weekend, the guard's pointing out for him to set it at the end,
Yeah.
towards the green box,
That's
towards
right.
the recycle.
Don't put it in the dumpster.
And I had one help me put a chair in the dumpster.
And I think that's going to be part of what we decide or what we put forward to the board is, can we do something in a sense that, like you said, a special area or special containment area to put these things on the weekend so that individuals who are not able to get there during the week can drop off that old refrigerator that's been, or stove or whatever.
What you gonna run into, so, and I'm just.
No, it double-
They're gonna be putting refrigerators that's got Freon in there.
Yep.
Well, like you said, they're doing,
And then they will be in violation if they put it in, they have to pay somebody to come take it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So people ain't, hey, they don't care what it's Freon in it or not.
well, the guards are there all weekend, right?
And every night.
Okay, so that,
They can monitor.
they will have to. I mean, it some degree that's the only, and I understand that's where we're at here, and but
You,
like you said, we're talking about EPA federal law stuff here. You can't, I mean, if you allow it to be left there, you scoop it up, you're not gonna leave it. You go up there and you crush it, and then you're dumping refrigerants. Like, you got enough federal government down your back breathing your neck anyway.
they're just
I
not
get
allowed.
where the landfill's coming, that they cannot take it. The problem's going to persist with people continuing to drop. Has the guard companies been stopping it from happening? I mean, that obviously this is a complaint on that. All right,
see, we,
what was and I guess that needs to be the specific here. We know there was a complaint about what couldn't get dropped off. What was it? Was it a refrigerant issue?
It was furniture. The one I received was furniture.
Was furniture? Okay. What? And so that obviously, because it's a convenience center, is not allowed. So do these need to be amended?
That's up to y'all to decide. You can make a recommendation of whatever you would like of these ordinances
So, yeah, and no matter what we do, the refrigerator Freon thing is gonna be, it's been in the record books, it's in the ordinance. And now that we're pointing it out, it's gonna rub some fellows because I've been doing it for 10 years. Well, yeah, we've been doing it illegally for 10 years. We need to fix it.
Yeah.
And so that's when I agree with putting this somewhere where everybody can see, hey, you cannot bring a refrigerator that has not been
Violate the federal
tagged
law,
or,
whatever the code is.
right, yes. And so that's something as far as especially at that one convenience center is a sign that says no refrigerators. And I don't know if it may be there already. I may have never seen it.
It's up there.
Okay.
But Brandon, you were talking about, the guards. We've been through, and it's before you came here, this deal about these guards.
Mhm.
They don't have no authority. They really don't have, we were gonna put county stickers and get them to check that. What you gonna do, if the guard starts enforcing it, you gonna get his ass whipped. It's gonna happen. They're not law enforcement, they're only security, right?
Yeah, but
What's the definition of their job?
They
they
can
do
still
have-
give direction though. They
And
can
they can,
still.
well, they can take license plates and report those as.
Yeah, but you don't want them to confront these people.
No.
We've already
No.
talked about
In the
it.
county ordinance,
Because
there is an ordinance, obedience to orders and directives of persons in charge. All persons using sanitary landfill or convenience center shall obey all lawful orders or directives of the attendant or landfill representative in charge thereof.
But
They have authorities.
it says that, but what is the authority of that? Most of these security people have no power of arrest or enforcing any law because they'd have to go through 26 weeks of school to be a law enforcement officer. I mean, I know that for a fact.
Well, there-
It may say that, but they don't have any authority to.
But Train, if we go on that mentality, then what's the point of being there at all?
It's
I mean, they
security to
could,
keep somebody from stealing everything at the landfill.
but that's not why that's not at all why they're there. They're there to at least ask the question. Yes, at the landfill, you got him, but if you've got one in every center and everything else, if they can't at least go ask the question of, has that had the refrigerator
I
removed?
didn't say
need
they couldn't
certificate?
ask the question. I said they can't enforce it.
Well, I agree with that, but I agree with that 100% that they can't enforce it, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't, and that's not going to change somebody's mind to drop it off if they don't walk out there and say, wait a minute, that stove's not a problem. It can
Well-
go here.
I mean, they don't have any more enforcement authority than Royce does, not picking on you,
Right.
but they are there as an observational entity.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
are in
but-
theory supposed to know this. And then when non-compliance is documented by them under the authority expressed in them under this document, they can call the law. I mean, that's the same way as any of us do. If we
Yeah,
know
but
what the
private
law
citizens,
is.
and that's what.
And obviously,
Yeah.
we don't want to have a
they-
confrontational thing, but
No, I don't
my
want them out there
observation is
trying
that
to.
they do approach people and let them know that, hey, sometimes you can't dump that in there or you have to take it to, I mean, I just got approached the other day. And yeah, there's gonna be times, a guy told me of a pretty bad example of a guy that had backed a box truck up to the Maplewood thing about a year ago or whenever it was. And it's pretty gruff, and he was unloading a bunch of commercial stuff that
Mhm.
wasn't from Amelia County, wasn't from a business authorized to. The guy went up there and he said, before he even engaged him, the guy just told him to pound sand and not as many words. And when he engaged him again, he realized that this guy was potentially violent. So he just took the license plate down. And I don't know if he reported that or not. But I mean, they do have, they're not really there to keep people from stealing your stuff over there. I mean, that's what the lot gate is for, especially on the weekends, but.
Well,
And I'm trying to, I'm used to policies and procedures. What is it? What is y'all's policy with it? What is the contract? What does it say they're supposed to do? Because it's got to be in writing. What they're authorized to do. and
Yeah, that'd be
required.
part of the contract with the security
Yeah.
company that y'all have.
Yeah, they have a contract.
Yeah.
I don't have
So-
it with me.
But that's what I'm saying. We need to know what that says
Well,
But
before we can do anything or changing anything.
what we could suggest for
Yeah,
them to
we
do
need to know what
apply.
that says, because if it doesn't say that they're supposed to go check those people,
yeah,
then they're not supposed to go check those people. And now you're talking about they're not there to keep people from stealing stuff from the landfill. Well, then why go up there 3 or 4 o'clock for the last 4 or 5 weeks? And the gates open and they're in the back somewhere. What are they there for? I'm not trying to be rude. The gates open, so, and the officer is not in the guard shack, but his vehicle's sitting there. What do they go back in there for?
They do a fire watch.
Yeah,
Occasionally
well, see,
too.
that's
They'll
what-
ride around and check the fire.
So they're back checking security to make sure the place don't burn up.
I think the issue here, though, I don't know, I agree the security system or security guard is part of the issue, but I think the other issue or the main issue that we can alleviate is whether they can drop stuff off at the convenience center at Maplewood. Am I correct? Did I misunderstand?
No, I think you're right. We got off.
Yeah, I think we need to, I think we can address that issue. And then the security issue is definitely one issue that we need to continue to follow up on. But as a committee, can we put something forth to the board to say, hey, we recommend this change to the ordinance?
I think the first question needs to be, voted. I could be wrong. Does the landfill have an issue
Exactly.
with furniture being thrown
All
in at the
restricted
convenience center?
items are posted on the sign right there when you come in.
Okay, so it is, and that's what I
They're-
want to.
They're there and they've always been there.
There's no wiggle room or changes to that whatsoever. That's in
It hasn't.
in
been
blood.
changed, no.
Okay,
Okay.
Well,
And-
it's
and
an
that's my
ordinance, I
question.
mean,
Yeah.
That's right here. Anything can be changed there.
Yeah, that's what,
Do you know if a civil penalty has ever been levied? For,
On the time I've been here, and I don't have any records of even sending warning letters
Okay.
in the past 10 years, I would say.
how would, let's say, see a truck and it's got a license plate on it. And it's just dumped a handful of refrigerators off in the, I mean, would you report that to the sheriff's office?
But since it's in here, since it's a county, what was done in the past was the person in my position pulled the records from the license plate from the DMV.
Okay.
They even went as far as, because there was contacting the Maryland DMV, because there was a car from Maryland that dumped trash, but they
Sure.
contacted the DMV for the state that the vehicle was registered to, and send a letter to the address informing them
Of the registered owner of the vehicle,
of the
not
registered.
necessarily the driver of the vehicle.
The registered
Yeah.
owner of the vehicle. Or if they found mail in the trash, they would send it that way.
Right.
Um,
I mean, from a legal standpoint, I'd love to go out and make a real whopping penalty that would stop this, but I'm wondering if it's even just, I mean, are there really any teeth to this? You know, because somebody could turn around and say, well, I wouldn't drive my truck that day. I loaned that to my cousin, you know?
yeah, but I can tell you from, I can tell you from, yeah, my better half was driving my vehicle with my license plate on it, and I got the ticket for it and paid the fine, and was responsible for the fine for it, even though she was driving it. So you're responsible for that vehicle. But if we can change this ordinance, is that something that goes, how does, that's what I'm asking. Okay, so it's up on the board. Got it. If we come and say, hey, yeah, we got it, we want to change it, we now say that individuals should be able to drop some of the stuff off in a designated area at the Maplewood Center, Convenience Center on the weekend, because we understand not everybody can make it home in time to move his stuff out during the week.
So
I don't think that's
that's not an ordinance issue.
That's
This
what I
is-
was trying to get to.
This is saying what you cannot do.
Mhm.
That agreement would have to be in that with Waste Management, providing an area to take those items on the weekend
Mhm.
or when the landfill was closed. Okay?
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
But this ordinance would have to be changed.
No, it wouldn't. It would
If
not.
it says you can't do it,
And
and
he's-
now you can, it's got to be changed.
I don't think we can change it.
Okay, and that was,
This is saying you cannot put the stuff in the boxes, is what it's trying to tell you.
But we're talking about
And if
putting a
we got a-
box out there so you can.
But
This
that's
is a
what I'm
separate
saying.
area is what I'm trying to say. This is saying you can't do
This
that.
can stay, that would be up
It
to
doesn't-
Waste Management to
When
do
you
that.
look at the law, it says do not go past 60 miles an hour. It doesn't say you can drive up to 60 miles an hour. It doesn't explain all that. This is what's saying you can't do. This is against the rules right here.
Mhm.
And as far as, posting signs saying after hours, whatever day, white goods, that's going to be up to us or up to whoever to advertise that or make people aware that they're able to do that. We can, I mean, we really can't change, no need to change this necessarily in order to address that. I mean, there's got to be an area opened up for that if Waste Management's willing or however we need to
Right.
contend with that.
I see what you're saying, yeah, I agree.
Is Freon considered a hazardous waste? Okay, so there's a clause for that here, 5.2. What Waste Management has established and agrees to continue a permanent household hazardous waste collection program for the county. The program shall be organized, promoted, and policed by the county, directing the delivery of household hazardous waste to a central collection point. Waste Management shall arrange the transportation and disposal of such waste, subject to county approval, but the county shall be responsible for signing any manifests in connection with such transport and disposal. Waste Management shall bear the cost of the transportation as well as cost for disposal. So how's that currently done?
We currently take household hazardous waste, so
Yeah.
cleaning supplies, paints, things like that.
So chemicals and,
Chemicals and things like that, and it's stored in a secure lock container, and then Waste Management services the removal and containers full.
so if Freon is considered a hazardous waste, I'm trying to go for the carrot approach here rather than the stick. Can we get those sorts of white goods into that flow?
The question I have is whether it's considered a household hazardous waste. So the EPA, I'll have to check their definition on whether something that's not containable easily, like
Right,
Freon,
like Freon.
is considered a household hazardous waste.
Because I mean, you know what's going to happen is, if we start kicking fridges out of here, they're going to end up on somebody's property,
Yep.
down some fire road, and that Freon's going to go right into the atmosphere. I'd like to figure out a way to get it into a systemized thing that doesn't add a lot of burden. I mean, these things have already been handled physically, right? I mean, y'all are getting stuff that gets dropped. What do you do when the refrigerator gets dropped off there? It's happened. We've all seen it. What happens then?
We've had to put them in a separate area and have a company come out and evacuate the Freon.
Okay. So you already have a regular system for that. Would there-
If, we have to, we can't just put it in there.
Right. So and so you've been sort of bearing the burden of that cost, which I would argue falls under household waste. I mean, I think if y'all have a sealed area you put it into and have a company come and dispose of the Freon, once the Freon's gone, did you take the refrigerator up the hill and it goes into the trash?
Then it can be
Okay.
disposed of afterwards.
So
So we have to keep records of it as well.
okay.
Of the evacuation.
Do we not have a system in place that's just not yet a system? In other words, can there be an area, a chained area, a whiteware amnesty area for refrigerators? Where that's where they go and the signage is, I mean,
But if it's already posted that we don't accept it, I don't see this.
well, then we could change that. And I mean, that would be the amendment I would make is to the convenience center that. I mean, to be honest, you're already servicing them for Freon. That's what you're telling me. That's what's already been happening. When somebody drops one off, even though they're not supposed to. So we could amend H to, and maybe add a clause after J to say that refrigerators and items containing free deep freezers, containing Freon or other refrigerants, would have to be handled into a system of some sort, be that a whiteware amnesty area.
Let me do
They'll
some
have to-
research on
they'll
it.
I mean, because I mean, what I'm
Because we took the class on it, I know according to the state regulations, no solid waste facility is supposed to accept or take in any white good that's not already been serviced.
okay,
However, if they by chance come into possession of it, then they have to bear the brunt of servicing it. They're
Right.
not allowed to say, yes, we'll take it, yes, we can accept it.
right,
If it's hidden or buried in trash or abandoned, then they have to take it.
right. That's,
But they're not allowed to say, yes, we'll take it.
they're not allowed to say, yes, we'll take it.
It has to come through, it's a combination of how the EPA says it. They can't say, you've got a fridge with Freon, we'll take it and service it for
Okay.
you. They can say, somebody's abandoned the fridge here, now we have to service it.
Right, right. No, I get that part.
So
Now there
they'll
is,
have to check the state regulations and the federal regulations on that. Since it's hazardous waste, it'll go up to RECRA.
well, I mean, technically, the acceptance point is when it goes through the gate. So if it's accepted or not accepted, if it's deposited at the convenience center, this Maplewood one, then it has not been yet accepted. It's been deposited there. So if it's in a fenced area that's a designated area for refrigerant bearing goods, then can the servicing potentially happen there? That
But
way, once
by-
it's gone through the gate,
By
it's
sitting in a
clean,
separate area, you're accepting it. You just can't.
but you're already accepting it. I mean, do you see? I mean, I'm not trying to fight with you on
Yeah.
this, but the thing is,
It's getting
if
dropped
we,
off
if
either
we,
way.
if we
What
throw,
can
if
do?
we throw, if we,
You set in a designated area, that means you're accepting it.
if we enforce these ordinances as written, we're gonna end up basically pumping more Freon into the atmosphere. Because what you're doing, which I appreciate, doing the right thing, by avoiding these things of Freon once you have come into possession of them. That is keeping that from happening. That's the whole goal here.
And what I was going with was similar to that in the sense it's already happening. Nothing's changing.
That's my point.
We're just trying to make it more organized and controlled.
It's gonna double or triple the amount of refrigerators and stuff that's taken up there. At least double it or triple. Then you
Yeah.
talk back.
But
Where are
also,
they
it
going
will also
to-
double or triple the less refrigerators that are just getting
Just throw it in a ditch somewhere.
thrown in a ditch somewhere. I mean, I'm thinking,
Is Waste Management gonna accept that responsibility and, cause it's gonna cost them in a year.
well, I mean, the whole responsibility is bigger than waste management and bigger than landfill and bigger than dumping on private property. The idea is to prevent a hazardous waste, so agreed to and defined, from just being let loose.
In our hazardous waste agreement with them on household,
Yeah,
that doesn't go in any code or definition, does it, on what level of waste that is?
it doesn't, and I mean, and I would say, to protect you all, like, I wouldn't want, let's say, a restaurant that has a big deep freeze that fails, that's some way they gotta call somebody, have it voided and have it, that's an industrial thing. But I'm talking about household stuff, mini fridges, deep freezes,
Well, and so many of them now are using such a low grade,
the 410.
well, no, it's, I mean,
Waste
they're
management.
using, I'll say it wrong, but methylate,
Oh, yeah.
it's
I know what you
like
mean.
we're getting so far down the list, and that's why I was asking if there was a code number there.
No, I don't think so.
And how specific it got, because I mean, that's where this becomes such an issue too. We're talking about the evacuation of it, and I mean, that's a world of difference if somebody brings in their, 1950s refrigerator that's got R12 in it,
Right.
on the expense of getting rid of that compared to deep freeze that was bought from Walmart last year
Right.
that clunked out. That's not even a hazardous. The hazard level of the refrigerator
It's
is so
basically
low.
propane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's 100%. That it's essentially unregulated almost. I mean, not completely, but all but. So I think we're opening up while I agree with all of what we're saying here for the greater good, what should be done, we may also be opening up something that's way off base for what we're allowed to do. I think maybe Waste Management's point here is, and the reason they have stayed so far away from it
Mhm.
is how deep it gets. You know what I'm saying? So never mind, so now we're getting into, if we start saying, okay, we'll take refrigerators, well, then we got to go, well, we're not going to take any refrigerators that were produced pre-2001.
Yeah.
And so while I'm not at all, and I hate this to even say what I'm saying right now, because I feel like we're going, well, this is still somebody else's problem. I don't know that we can get to a good answer here, within reason. You know what I'm saying? Because we're talking about, then we got to just talk, at this point, then we'd be talking about county involvement. This is really where it would have to go. And if we want to do this, and if we feel like this is on our plate to take care of, and I will jump right on and go with everybody on it. But at this point, I think we would have to then go to Benji and say, all right, we need to present this to the board. The county's got to start offering the evacuation process. At a near site, obviously, it would have to be somewhere close to the landfill to still then be able to get rid of it. I just think this is getting ready to grow into something. If we're going to take this on, it's going to be very regional.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we're not going to do it in 4 meetings a year. This is something that's going to take a lot of investigating, and then we're going to have to propose it back to the landfill. Would you take it if we, from the county, offer this?
Well, at that point, if they're evacuated, they can take it. They
That's
can
what-
accept
and
it.
that's what it is.
So waste management's not going to have them come on, they're not allowed by state.
Mhm.
We're not talking about just Amelia's little local law.
That's what I'm saying,
The
exactly.
state's
It's
like,
big.
you can't do that.
That's
Waste
right.
management's
This is
like,
really
well,
big.
we're not even gonna entertain the idea of
Correct.
doing this. So it would have to be probably off the facility somewhere else that the county does that. And that's a whole nother program right there in order to be doing that.
Is there even a place in the county to have the service provided?
I mean,
How
the
do,
service-
who do y'all use? How do y'all do it?
I mean,
How do
I'm
y'all?
not suggesting
get it?
y'all do it, but you can recover it, correct?
Sure, I can recover and send off refrigerant and any heat and air company, anybody with a HFC universal refrigerant. can do that.
I agree.
It, so the actual
We-
cost of it, you'd only be talking about an hourly
We do
rate
a-
because the
a
refrigerant is
hydrant.
typically
Yeah.
free
Okay.
to then send back.
Yeah, but that's.
But you're still talking about, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, basically what would have to happen in that scenario
Just
is,
trying to think out.
is we
how
would
can-
then, you know, whatever said contractor that was gonna do this would have to set up a date once a week, maybe. These would have to get dropped off. Recovery is not a long period of time. Of course, it would all hinge on time frame, essentially, how many get dropped off. So it's really hard to quantify. You could take, but something as small as refrigerator, deep freezer, you could recover each one in 15 minutes. So they'll say 4 an hour. Figure 4 an hour going rate for any mechanical service right now is in between $125 and $150 an hour for one man. That is what what the county would, plus because like I said, most of these refrigerants at this point, I say it's free. It's not free. You're paying for it federally. The EPA is taking care of the recovery and the cleaning of the refrigerant. Some of them can even be bought.
Right.
Not at a high enough level to even figure that. But if we're gonna start getting into something like this, we're talking about not including the site work.
Mhm.
You're talking about just we'll figure you're gonna pay a company $800 to $1,000 a month to come in and recover these pieces of equipment. Plus, you're talking about whatever the site would have to be manned. You know, because otherwise you'd end up just getting whole loads of trash dropped off there. Whatever was on the truck when they got ready to go to landfill is what would
Drop
be
it
going
on
there.
there.
Then you got to deal with the transport from that site to the
Right.
landfill.
To the
for them to
Pay
accept
somebody
it.
to
Correct.
carry it.
So-
So the
I
county,
mean,
what's the county?
And all that,
person?
and it's in the waste
Waiting in 2
agreement,
months.
and what we're looking at with right here, waste management is not agreed to, and the county had not asked them to bear that cost. So we're looking at the county to do this, which entail if we go into it, and we're looking at what you're talking about, and then the transport, and then hiring somebody to do it and somebody to be there and keeping up with all this, you're looking at, you're going to end up having to charge a person a fee for dropping something off is what it would end up being. So
my question before we spend any more time and effort into this, at a bare minimum, we're talking about this as something that's going to cost the county, not even considering what it, I mean, you got to figure on it being manned, whatever hours will be allowed to be dropped off. No, so I mean, we're talking
bunch of money.
you're talking $5,000 to $10,000 a month at a bare minimum.
Just to have it set up, and then that's how many refrigerators are going to be dropped off in air conditioned units and such. You know what I mean? If
That's
you
right.
get 5 a month just to go through all this.
Correct. In saying this, I think personally, this is something that we're gonna have to. I'm not saying ignore this forever. I feel like we should table it and maybe even call, if we feel like it's something that's important enough, we should call a special meeting for this particular issue. And I would like to ask your opinion on it, Benji, is this something that would even, that we feel like the board would even entertain at this point?
I think they're already asking for, well, not us, but it's
I think-
requested that we look at this.
Yeah.
No, they are. Okay, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So can I make a motion? If everybody, okay, I would like to make a motion that we table this until the board has made a decision whether to entertain the idea, and then we find out our
I think
obligation.
they're asking us.
That, I think that's already happened.
Oh, they are asking us on the,
Yeah.
okay.
They've asked for an update at the next meeting, next board meeting next month.
Yeah.
They have,
So-
okay.
So-
All right, well, that's a whole different deal then.
So they just-
Okay, I didn't know that.
So specifically, what is the board asking?
How we gonna give them anything without
The gist,
even knowing what it's gonna cost?
Well, and I agree with
the
that.
gist of this was not the stoves or the white goods, it was specifically the large bulky items.
Mhm.
Nobody had an issue getting rid of fridges or anything like that. Waste management, without becoming a resource recovery place, can't accept and service them.
Sure.
because
Okay.
They have to be limited to
Okay.
that. The main gist of this that was causing the issues was the bulky items at the convenience. center.
Like furniture
Okay,
and stuff.
so
Okay.
that's what we need to focus on right now.
Yeah, we don't need to focus on the refrigerators at this point.
Right. But it's a
That's
good
what I'm
topic to
asking.
come up, yeah.
Can I make a motion to table the refrigerators, the refrigerant issue for today's meeting?
Because, I mean, furniture.
And I say we open it as an old business and then possibly
Okay.
create a special, if this is somewhere the county needs to go.
Well, I mean, at this point, they're not accepted anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To make them acceptable, we have to present something to the board to,
Now, I don't know that that needs to necessarily go to the board. That's just gonna, if we're gonna work towards accepting them, that's not gonna change any. of
Waste
these
management.
that, I agree 100%. I'm saying to the board, the board supervisor for me to provide
You can't accept it.
to provide an area.
We're
for it.
beating
think,
that
Well,
horse.
but we gotta have a plan for all that, like you shared.
So that's why I'm asking, table that part of it, then we move on to
Yeah, I
just a
think
bulky
about the
item area.
refrigerator, I don't think they're talking about, we wasted
just
all
let
that.
We'll just look into it, yeah, I don't think we,
Oh, I mean,
That's
you're
what-
beating our heads about these refrigerators. The state law says they can't accept it.
No, it says they can't accept them with refrigerant. So our discussion was whether the county should incur any cost of the recovery.
And
Well,
right,
actually, let me clarify that. If there's an insinuation that I was proposing that the county incur that cost, that was not my intent. My intent was to
County-
explore what, I mean, number one, I think we should look at what other municipalities and counties do. I mean, before we put anything on the table, I'm not comfortable with any motion at this point until we benchmark what is reasonable and works for other communities. We're not the first ones to deal with this.
That'd be,
So I would encourage that between now and January 16th, we do some research to figure out how this is handled.
you're right about that. I mean, there are other options. There are companies that would want to come get those materials and take them away.
Yeah.
Recycling companies. So we can look at that. We
Yeah.
don't need to.
That's what my thought is. It'd be, we
Right.
can get a recycle company and put a trailer, come by once a month or once a.
I mean, here's-
or
So
whatever.
that don't-
here's-
still doesn't address this whole issue here as a whole with bulk items. You're gonna have, somebody's gonna have to separate metal goods because people are just gonna come throw couches in there with it. you know?
That's correct. But I
and
mean,
that's
like,
the item we need to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what we,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what we need to get back to, step off the
Right
refrigerant
up.
issue particularly,
Dan,
and then
Yep.
move on to the bulky item issue. Let's
Because
just-
that's
Like I
what,
said, as of for now, the refrigerant is off discussion. We're just getting the furniture, stove,
bulky,
bulky items when the landfill is closed. Okay.
all right. So, and the board is looking for us to address that issue.
I think there's been some stuff that brought up and Eric's asking us to look at it to bring to the board.
yeah, it seems like an hours thing. The 9 to 5, Monday
Yeah.
through Friday is when you're supposed to take all that stuff up the hill minus fridges, right? And people are showing up on Saturday and the guards are enforcing what's ordinance and saying you can't put that in the dumpster. You got to come back Monday morning. They're saying, well, I'm at work Monday morning and Friday morning. And
I guess what I would like to say about all this, now I heard that version. I wish they'd all step up, and I know it's gonna be a thing for people to start following the freaking rules, but
Mm.
they haven't followed rules in so long. I hope they'd all get on board and say, we're not doing this.
Mhm.
Well, after a month or two, people will realize, oh, we gotta follow the rules and it don't hurt so bad. But
Oh, the first part of
this,
it.
I'm guessing is one particular guard. I've gotten called, he's gotten
All the
called.
bulky items at all the convenience centers, they have not had it regularly enforced at the Maplewood convenience.
Right.
Okay.
That people have have gotten in the habit of
Yeah.
taking the furniture up there on Saturday, which it does present a stakeholder issue if you work 9 to 5 and you get home 5 o'clock on
Yeah.
Friday and you can't go back up on the hill and you've got a couch, how do you get rid of it? You're a citizen, you're entitled to get rid of it. And you either have to take time off work or find a holiday.
Yep.
So you do have somewhat of an issue, in my opinion, from the calls I've received, that how do these people get rid of their furniture? They called me and said, how do I get rid of it? I work, so.
But to add to it, I think maybe it needs to be put on Facebook, newspaper, whatever. By the way, we're starting to tighten up on this. Be aware.
But
Because there was the guy called me, it's like, what the heck?
But what can be done, people talking about they work. Yeah, okay. Well, here we go. That's why the Maplewood site is open 24/7. So people can carry stuff anytime during the night.
Except both, except both.
Nobody else furniture,
But
right?
that's what we're saying, even though it has
Well,
not been
I'll
enforced.
get on this bulky all you want to. I live there. I know what goes on up there. They're called people, during the daytime, they're putting chairs and stuff in the dumpster. I watch it all the time.
When they are, but
Enforcement
the
is the
issue,
problem.
well, the issue is the problem that the citizens are now having is that it's starting to be enforced
Correct.
by a
By
particular,
certainty.
by certain
By
people.
security.
And I agree.
Which is the law.
I think we should have I mean, this is me as a citizen, this is me a member of this committee. There should be an option for bulky items. Yes, I'm 100%. Let's say nothing illegal, no refrigerants. I don't know what the landfill's issues would be with it, what the abuse of it might be. I understand that that is an issue. I do feel like we need to suggest a bulky item area or specific can. Even if we say it is, if you're already changing, say you're already changing out, what did y'all schedule for changing out cans been on Saturdays?
We don't, it's handled by another division, Richmond Baldwin.
Okay.
If you wanted to allow citizens to take bulky items to the 24-hour convenience center, then the ordinance has to be changed to allow such a thing to occur.
That's what,
Okay.
that's what it sounds like we need to address.
Okay.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
That wanted to be changed, and you as a committee will have to make an ordinance to suggest for approval.
And then the board of supervisors.
Board of supervisors will then do their.
Yeah,
Was
also
there
you gotta
anything on the
remember,
other page?
freaking spoiled.
oh yeah,
You know what I'm
But-
saying? We're complaining not being able to throw this away. I forgot what the number was. It was like $1 million+ that we are saving by even having this convenience.
Yeah.
And now we're complaining, I can't take my truckload of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You probably took a day off to do that, to tear that,
There's-
whatever part.
There are plenty of other things in life that we have to
Yeah.
take some time off to do,
Yeah,
which I'm not trying to be harsh about that.
but this is, it's a free thing. It's okay to have some rules.
It's not free though, Benji.
No,
I disagree with that 100% that it's free. It's free monetary. We've still got multiple landfill sites in this county that other counties where it's not free don't have it.
I'm saying it's free for us to go dump.
Well, I agree, but it's free. It's free. We don't pay for the dumping, but our county being exposed to the landfill in general is the price. So I'm not saying 24 hour will be able to dump bulky items. I do think it would be realistic for us to ask for the board to change and allow some portion of hours and us to come to some. This is not, like I said, this is not a short answer thing. This was us. We would have to come to a sort of agreement with the landfill to be able to handle it. I do believe we need some Saturday hours for this. I don't care if it's a 4 hour window. I don't care if we do 8 to 12 on Saturdays. That's fine. I do think that should be an option for our citizens to get rid of bulky items. And because because the end result of it is they're going to do something with them. They're going to set it on fire. They're going to do something if they're off on Saturday. And I speak from this from every choice I make is mine. This is from a guy that's in the trenches with 3 kids playing sports. I'm lucky to get the 4 hours on Saturday to do it.
Right.
Much less during a standard work day. You know what I'm saying? And I have more conveniences and more flexibility than most, and I still would struggle with it. So I can't imagine a shift worker or whatever. You got to take, I don't know what the actual percentage is, but well over 50% of our citizens work outside the county.
Yep.
They're not even in the county these hours. So, if we don't want to go through the trouble of changing these convenience centers, I would ask that we could suggest to the board to ask of Waste Management to have some Saturday hours.
I'm in agreement almost 100% with you on that. I think that, and I disagree that this is free because my time is not free. My time, like you said, with your
It's the most
kids.
expensive thing I have.
Yep, my son is home from school right now. And so this right now, I'm not with him. I'm actually here, so it's not free to me. So to be able to go on a Saturday afternoon after I have worked all week and drop a old chair off or a picnic table that's fallen apart off or whatever would be a great convenience to me. And as a taxpayer, I think I've earned a little bit of convenience. And I pay taxes in this county. And I think that that would be one of those conveniences without breaking any laws. That would be a good convenience that would allow me to spend more time doing what I do.
Clarify. If I was another county where I didn't have a landfill.
Yeah.
I would have to pay.
To go,
somebody.
yeah, and I agree with you. I
Yeah.
understand on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's my point.
Could we make an exception within H, if we're gonna change anything, to include the Maplewood landfill as that place that would accept everything except for yawn-bearing goods?
That's what I think is the smartest
Tires
decision.
and everything.
Well,
Or it's, or sorry,
And
no
everything else
no
is
hazardous
posted.
materials and tires and all that.
Right.
That's- That would be withstanding.
being the devil's advocate again, and I guess Ben didn't clarify this. They do not dump the dumpsters on the weekend. It's done out of ritual.
Correct.
So if you say you can take bulk items up there from 8 to 12 or 8 to 8, they'll fill 2 or 3 dumpsters up, and they're still gonna throw stuff on the ground because they can't go dump.
I would argue that if you did change that ordinance to allow the convenience center in Maplewood to accept bulky items, it's not gonna be any different than it is now, because they've been putting bulky items in
Right.
for the past how many years?
Approximately 35.
So ever since it started.
So all that ordinance change would do would by the county ordinance, allow citizens to continue doing what they have known to be able to do
Correct.
at the Maplewood site
But
only.
not the other convenience.
But you-
Without chance of criminal, civil penalty.
What you need is you need to put in there that no bulky items can be placed anywhere except in the dumpster. That way, people, if they set it on the ground,
I was thinking, is that on the side?
There's already,
but
everything needs to be deposited in the
Even
containers.
bulky items.
Letter J right there. It's saying none of this is at the convenience centers. You don't do it. That's H, and then J is everything needs to be put in the containers. So the laws the rules, I shouldn't say laws, but the ordinances, the rules that we got just need to be enforced and then move from there, you know.
Since
yeah,
this.
I agree with you, but they're not being enforced now. They're not gonna be.
Well, it sounds like they're working on starting to enforce it, you know, and that's why the complaints have come up.
Hey, I don't know if you heard, Nathan, since this has kind of been more enforced, has the weekend's been overflowing, he's like, no, it's been nice. So that was our problem not long ago, is the place was overflowing on the weekends, and now it's not, and now we're complaining back the other way.
So the question in my mind is who's coming and just dropping the stuff off? You claim there's so many people coming from Nottaway, are they the ones coming and dropping the bulky items off?
Someone probably are.
I dare say that it's probably more outside of Amelia County residents that are bringing and dropping and leaving the stuff off. So if this is enforced, then let's see where we'll end up after that and how much of an issue we've got with a bulk item situation versus let's make a big plan and rearrange and do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? People do still call on the phone, and they do call us about doing extra work. And I know, hauling junk and this and that and the other. Not everybody's going to do that. Some people are just going to go drop it off. And it may end up that if people are dropping it off alongside them, my dumpsters at whatever businesses there are around here. And then we figure out how to combat that. There should be a county ordinance that already deals with that. So In the past, we've dealt with that by addresses and then delivering trash back to a person's house. Not always in such a polite manner either.
So
Weird thought.
I'll do it for you, Bubba, call.
I think we'll be fine with a free appliance pickup with so-and-so's number. They can just say I'm a scrapper. I put my sign, I'll come pick it up for free.
Used to be a guy that did that. There
So-
for years and years, and he got
I mean,
old.
there's several people that do junk removal now as it is. I mean, I talked to one that the other day that was in a landfill. So, I mean, there are options there for people to deal with. But not everybody wants to do that. Like you said, you may want to go on a Saturday to drop something.
We have to follow the, they say no, it's.
So do, as a committee, do we want to take any action to change any of, do I have any motions to change any of the ordinance?
I think we ought to change it to where they can bring bulky items on Saturday and put them in a different dumpster. Can y'all do something like that? I mean, what's the difference and I'm not trying, what's the difference in putting them in one of those large dumpsters, chairs and stuff like that, then haul them back there and dump them out? I mean, the trucks will lift
I
it.
think they'll flip even faster and then involve opening and staff and.
But we're here to take care of the county citizens' trash. That's what we are here for. Not trying to be rude on you, man. You're here to make money.
This,
I mean, no disrespect. I'm just saying, but we're supposed to try to take care of the county citizens, a way that they can get rid of their trash.
Since this just got in everybody's lap today, I move that we take this next quarter to do our research and ask around and check other counties and then come back and bring it back up next month.
Yeah, it's not a, I'll second that motion. It's not so much a volume problem though, right? I mean, we're not gonna open the floodgates. We haven't been enforcing the rules problem.
Yeah, but still, the people don't have nowhere to put it if we enforce the
If,
rule.
that's correct. If that's, I'm with you. I'm not comfortable changing these quite yet. I think you're moving in the right direction. And I would like to just open the Maplewood Convenience Center up and say, that's where bulky trash goes on Saturday and Sunday. And actually Monday through Friday, 7 days a week, that's where it goes. Because it's not just a Saturday, Sunday thing, it's an after hours thing on Monday through Friday. That's what's already been happening for almost as long as I've been alive.
As long as it's been.
We're not gonna it's not a floodgate of new labor and new onus. It's the practice is in conflict with the ordinance. We're just identifying that. If we're gonna change the ordinance, I don't think we have the language to change it quite yet, if that is necessary. Let's give it a quarter and see what the response is to enforce, and I mean, how many data points do we have right now to change an ordinance? We have 2 complaints?
I've got a couple.
How many?
I've
got one.
Probably 2.
All right, so let's say that there's some double counting. We've got 4 complaints.
The biggest issue
Well,
I've
lately-
received is that the people who have been turned away have started dumping it at the Journey Thrift. Journey Thrift called and said that anybody who was bringing in basically junk furniture, throw it away there, then they just dump it on Journey's property.
It gets right.
Yeah,
And then Journey reported that they had seen somebody throw their furniture in the woods alongside of Maplewood when
Yeah.
they returned.
I've seen furniture inside in the woods.
Yeah.
And I think of a washer or a dryer too. Okay, so motion has been made, it's been seconded. All those in favor, do we need to restate the motion to bring this back next quarter? Everybody good? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? All right.
Or somebody said something about stuff dumped on Maplewood,
Mhm.
that you just said you see stuff dumped on Maplewood Road.
Along the road, yeah.
Well, that's landfill job, clean it up. It's in the contract.
We
Right,
do-
Ben?
We do keep that clean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's all the time, but I know I have seen,
And they do. I mean, I see the guys out there all the time. I'm not knocking what, but I say then it is their responsibility to pick up all that trash.
But we don't want to make that the fact.
No. That's
All right.
right here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that something you could put on Facebook or something, just to remind people? That way, when I do get this phone call, say, did you not see this? It's posted.
We could do like an I guess sort of like small
Public
advertising
statement.
campaign, put it on Facebook and the
Mhm.
paper.
Mhm.
Just
Reminder of county ordinances regarding convenience centers within the county, type of thing, and put that out.
And I think this goes hand in hand also with making sure our signs are clearly visible and in their face so that everybody knows. I think that will,
And I feel pretty sure that Ben and Brian and them, they gonna get together and do something about the sign. At least clean them up. Maybe they just need to clean them up, but see, they used to reflect. But it seems like they don't anymore. I guess that's from age.
Yeah, surely.
and maybe that's something that we consider asking new signs to be put, all new signs to be put up.
Brian, they're very good about that kind of stuff. I mean, they,
Well, the good news is that if there's any heartache about anything that goes on, Randy, you and I go get all the hell for it because we're the new people. We're gonna catch it because we're the new guys. Oh, they're starting everything up.
Yeah.
Okay, any further? Yes, sir.
When,
Oh,
I had a couple things to close out.
oh, any further question, any discussion on any of this? Okay, any other business?
One, do you mind coming to the next board meeting just to kind of update what we're looking at?
Yes, sir. I do not mind. Yes, I'll come.
And also maybe reiterate, hey, by the way, we're trying to tighten up on this a little bit.
Yep.
Just another reassurance.
Yes, sir. When is that meeting? You know, right off the bat?
4 weeks from yesterday.
Whatever that.
Third Wednesday is.
Third Wednesday, gotcha.
Change it in November because of Thanksgiving, don't you?
Ooh,
No, we did not.
Still,
okay.
It's later in the,
It's on
Thanksgiving's
Thursday.
later in the month. I know in the past they have had to.
My bad.
It's the 20th,
That's on my-
Wednesday?
Hey,
Okay.
oh, that's hunting season. You can't on me dirty. Oh, I know, I got something. we need-
because after
we
legal
need to
shooting
address
hours.
in new business. I want to make sure that everybody is aware that people have been scavenging their dump. I don't want to let everybody knows. I mean, I saw people with truckloads. I think I sent pictures to everybody. I had an email for, what's happening. And I also sent Brian the address of where they live at. What's being addressed to that? Anything?
I do know we did change the guard attendance hours because they were leaving earlier before we got there. So,
Did you get a-
What I'm getting at.
and I was unaware that.
The
what
officer
transpired from you,
was
Brian.
there and the gate was open. The one time and I called the people.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether he was in the back checking you, whatever. But I was told by the person that contacted me that he'd been there to see what happened. The guy was dumping his trash there. I just happened to be coming down the road at 5:30 from running dogs in the morning.
Hmm.
He sent me a text. Well, I just stopped there right then. But he says that they have been doing this for a very long time. And that sometimes the officer is standing there. Now, not saying that the officer hadn't told him they can't do it, but he's standing there watching them load all this stuff. Well, you saw the picture of how much stuff it is. They had to make 2 or 3 trips.
As long as it's refrigerated, it's all good, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it is.
There's a solution right there. It's been-
Because it's a safety issue again with say,
Oh.
his wife goes by there on the way to work to dump trash. And one of them guys had a knife on his side about that long. And I'm gonna tell you now, I know their reputation up where I live at, they're crackheads, that's what everybody says. Now, I ain't never said it's right. But it's a safety issue for the county, in the county citizens, for them to be there doing that. And I'm not trying to be, we need to find out about how it's being addressed and what's being done.
It's a county enforcement thing, so that would fall under violations and penalties here. So it would be up to the county to assess any penalties on them, which our penalties are still the $50 for the
Yeah, that's
first
just,
Yeah.
that's the
To
other
be-
thing we need to talk about.
And to be honest, you and I talked about this, that I've seen that truck before in broad daylight there. That is that is a dozen moving violations right there. How
Oh,
it
yeah.
got to the landfill legally was in violation of a number of codes.
And see, I haven't called them there again because I ain't been going every morning.
Mm.
But I have made up my mind, if I catch them there again, I'm gonna call the sheriff's.
I think it's the best
That's
option.
the
And
best.
tell them to set
Yeah.
up the road and when they leave, but until then, it's a safety issue. I ain't trying to be smart. I don't care if they get anything out of that dumpster. As far as them just getting it. But it's a safety issue for them to be going in a dumpster and his wife, my wife, go by there and it just, they're not there just to dump their trash.
Right.
There's a reason they're scavenging in there, and taking stuff out. They must be selling it. I mean, why else would they do it? So that means they're in a bad situation for money. And I just, it's a safety, very serious safety issue.
Well-
It ain't just something to.
Like you said, it's a safety issue for them being in that situation and then anybody that they may encounter in that situation. If something happens to them while they're on landfill property, what happens at that?
And
That
it's a
becomes-
safety issue for them.
Exactly.
It has been reported, when you report it, they report it to the guards supervisor and they are handling.
Okay, so it's a safety issue for the officer too, that is working there.
Yep.
You don't know what they, if he goes over there and says, hey, man, you don't know what they liable to do. You know, we've talked about that. I'm not.
It's being investigated. I can tell you that.
No,
So it's, your cameras doesn't show they've been there anymore? You told me you had cameras there,
Yeah.
take pictures of all that stuff.
Cameras.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they haven't been there, is that what you're saying?
I haven't personally seen them. I haven't personally. Now, we're gonna review 24 hours every day, trying to find them.
I mean, don't see that y'all have cameras, they don't record,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I get
so you can look at them and see them.
it. Save taxpayers some money.
Okay.
Save taxpayers some money.
This last thing, or you or something, I know we mentioned at one time they kind of get Brian here at least once a year.
Yep.
That's where he's talking, I think he could possibly come to our next meeting.
I'll mention it.
Well,
That time we've requested his attendance, please.
you know, but yeah, at least if he could. show-
Just so we can,
Take some heat off of you.
Yeah. Especially when we're talking about stuff that like this, that you have no say so.
yeah.
We're gonna put your chair right there.
In the middle.
No.
Everybody do this.
Now, always gotta be a middle name.
All right, any additional business, any topics we need to discuss this meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is to move to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Meeting is adjourned. Time is 11:05.